They're sitting right next to you on the couch, the glow of the screen lighting up their face like tiny ghosts dancing on their skin. They smile, maybe at a funny video, a message from work, or a meme from a cousin. You tell yourself it's nothing. The room is quiet, but there's another room you can't see, the one inside the phone, inside their thoughts, where doors open and close without a sound. You can't hear the steps in that room, or smell the perfume of new attention. All you notice is the small flinch when a message arrives, the secret turn of the wrist, the thumb that moves like it's guarding a door you no longer have the key to. In this age, betrayal rarely begins with the clumsy drama of lipstick or late arrivals. It begins with a glowing rectangle, with two people learning each other's weather, one text at a time. It begins with thought, not touch. A trusted name becomes a daily presence. Just a friend forms a quiet pattern. An old friend becomes a new routine. Nothing outrageous, nothing you could hold in your hand like proof, just soft echoes that gather into a storm. The modern version of leaving happens with the body still present and the mind already far away. They're not sneaking out, they're logging in. They're not changing where they go, they're changing where they dwell. We tell ourselves loyalty is a wall, high and solid. In truth, it is 1,000 threads, each thin as a hair, and any one thread seems too small to fuss over. But if enough threads are cut, the wall falls down without a sound. That is how distance grows, one tiny snip at a time. A quick reply in the night, a saved joke for someone else, a confession sent to another inbox because it feels easier, safer, lighter than risking a difficult conversation at home. A heart looks for places where it can be unjudged, and in that search, it sometimes leaves without noticing it has left. What makes this quiet betrayal so haunting is its invisibility. No hotel keycards, no strangers on a bill, only the slow redirection of emotion. The mind learns a different street to walk, a different door to knock on when it needs to be seen. And the person lying beside you, the one who knows how you breathe when you sleep, becomes the one who saves certain parts of themselves for someone else. They share the highlight reel of their soul with a new audience and offer the bloopers at home. Not to be cruel, not even to deceive, often to avoid the risk of being fully honest with you. Because honesty is heavier than a message bubble, and the truth inside a relationship can feel like lifting a mountain with bare hands. So they look for a smaller weight to carry somewhere else. A sympathetic listener, a coworker who laughs at the right moments, a stranger who replies quickly and never requires dinner to be cooked or the trash to be taken out. Attention is easy to give when it costs nothing. It is also addictive to receive when you're tired of asking for it. There is a moment, a line you can't see, when sharing becomes shelter. When the complaint about you to another is no longer venting but recruiting. When the details of your ordinary life, your habits, your lapses, your tiredness at the end of the day, turn into a script someone else reads in private, not because they mean harm, but because closeness is magnetic. Put two people together who understand each other's daily struggles, and they will begin to trade small comforts. The trade itself is not a crime, but sometimes it becomes a currency, and the price is paid by the relationship that was supposed to be home. Technology makes this so easy. Everything is without friction. You can cut across the world in a sentence. You can vanish a conversation with a swipe. You can carry an entire second life in your pocket and lay it on the nightstand like an innocent object. When no one else can see your words, the words feel lighter. But words are never light. They carry the weight of who we are becoming. Every "how was your day" sent to another person is a brick in a small house you do not live in. Every secret saved is a room where you are not invited. Watch the rituals and you will see the truth. The photos taken, then taken again. The outfit chosen for an audience that has no real name. The quiet thrill of a message thread that lights up faster than your living room conversation. Notice how often we perform our lives not for each other, but for the imaginary crowd just beyond the glass. Somewhere along the way, the need to be adored by many becomes louder than the need to be deeply known by one. This is not evil, it is human, and it is dangerous. Comparison is a soft knife. It does not stab. It shaves off layers until you barely feel the blood. Scroll long enough and you are weighing your home against the highlight reels of strangers. Someone else's vacation becomes a rebuke. Someone else's partner becomes a measure. Someone else's story becomes an accusation against your own. The mind begins to believe that care should look like a montage of surprise gifts, slow dancing in kitchens, sudden trips to Paris. Anything that does not match the montage is labeled a failure. And so resentment blooms where gratitude might have been. Resentment seeks an outlet. It finds a listener who says, "You deserve more." It finds a thread that says, "I would never do that to you." We all know what singers we are when we're auditioning. We all know what promises we make when we haven't yet learned the price of keeping them. Friends, too, can become mirrors that bend the light. Some friends will protect your relationship by reminding you of your vows, of your shared history, of the long view. Others will feed the feeling that you're missing out on a life where you are adored without needing to be difficult. They will counsel freedom when commitment feels like friction. They will translate compromise into surrender and hard conversations into control. And sometimes unhealed wounds whisper through their advice. Leave before you are left. Prepare an exit before you even admit you are thinking about one. Fear disguised as wisdom is a powerful storyteller. The quiet shift often begins with small forgettings. Not forgetting dates or chores, but forgetting the simple pride of saying, "This is my person." The pronouns change. I becomes louder than we. Shared plans start to feel like scaffolding for a building no one is sure they want. There is no announcement. There are only adjustments, fewer photos together, fewer public words of belonging. The relationship goes off the grid while the life around it stays fully online. Performance replaces presence. The show must go on, but the stage is elsewhere. We misjudge loyalty when we treat it as a feeling. Loyalty is not a mood that rises and falls with weather. It is a choice often made when the mood is not there. It is the muscle that lifts conversation when silence would be easier, that stays curious when judgment would be quicker, that chooses repair over temporary relief. But muscles atrophy when they are not used. If the gym of repair is replaced by the couch of quick validation, you can predict the future without seeing it. Strength declines, endurance fades, the heart goes where the effort is low and the applause is loud. There is another betrayal rarely named, the betrayal of potential. The mind begins to sketch other lives on fog glass. New cities, new names, new hands, new habits. Daydreams are not crimes. But if you spend enough time in the imagined house, your real house starts to look shabby, even if nothing is wrong with it. The imagined partner never forgets. The imagined partner never snores. The imagined partner always says the right thing. It is an unfair competition from the start. The real is always at a disadvantage against the perfect idea. And if you feed the idea enough attention, you will begin to starve the real without meaning to. Sometimes betrayal wears the mask of calm. The arguments stop not because you've learned each other's language, but because one of you has stopped speaking in their native soul. When whatever you want becomes the answer to everything, it is not maturity. It is an exit without footsteps. Energy goes elsewhere. You know it by the way laughter sounds different on a screen than across the table. You know it by the way a face lights up for a message but dims for a question about the day. You know it by the vague sentences, the ones with no nouns, that explain where the time went. Just busy, just tired, just nothing. And yet, no story like this is simple. We want a villain and a victim. We want a clean line where the wrong began. But often the line is thinner, older. Often two people drift for a long time before one of them finds a raft labeled attention. Often weariness arrives uninvited. Jobs that squeeze, children that wake, illnesses that don't care what weekend it is. Often the hard work of closeness gets delayed until both people feel like strangers who share a mortgage. No one sets out to abandon the heart they once swore to guard. They just stop guarding and something else enters, politely at first. Still, there are choices. There are always choices. The moment a secret is born, a fork appears in the road. Secrets are expensive. They demand stories to protect them. They consume energy that should have fed the relationship. A second phone, a deleted thread, a mental rehearsal of alibis. Each one is a withdrawal from the account of intimacy. One day you check the balance and wonder where it all went. It went into fees you paid to hide, into interest you paid to pretend. Attention is our era's currency, and the market is busy and loud. If you trade your partner's trust for that currency, you might feel rich for a while. So many likes, so many glances, so much proof that you are still wanted by the world. But attention does not build a home. Presence does. Attention does not carry you through illness. Devotion does. Attention does not sit with you in the dark and refuse to leave. Love does. Attention will always offer you a better price today if you will sell your tomorrow. Many do. They wake up in a soft bankruptcy, empty among many admirers. If we are honest, we all carry the capacity to betray. Not because we are monsters, but because we are hunters for relief. It begins with self-sparing thoughts. I deserve this small brightness. I am only talking. I am only sharing. I am only being seen. We forget that the small brightness we hide from our partner grows best in shade. We forget that intimacy with one person cannot thrive if we water it everywhere else. We forget that the words only and just are the most dangerous words in the language of drift. Only talking, just joking, only a message, just a drink. The human heart is a garden that grows exactly what we plant and exactly what we ignore. There is a question that can save a life together, but almost no one asks it in time. Where does your attention go when it leaves me? Not as an accusation, but as a mapmaker's curiosity. Show me the streets your mind walks when our door feels heavy. Show me the windows you stand beneath when the weather turns inside you. If we do not share these maps, we will be forever looking for each other in the wrong towns. We learn to say, I'm fine, because fine is quicker than truth and safer than being misunderstood. But fine is a fog, and people get lost in fog. The better sentence is longer and clumsy. I feel lonely for a type of listening I cannot name. I feel small in the story of my own life and need a witness who remembers the taller version. I'm not trying to leave, but parts of me are wandering toward any hand that feels like a lighthouse. That sentence takes courage. It sounds dramatic. It is also the first plank on the bridge back home. Sometimes the cure for secrecy is not surveillance, but sanctuary. Not more rules, but more room for the truth. A place in the house where both of you can speak the unspeakable without punishment. A ritual, once a week, where you sit without the glow of other worlds and ask the tender questions. What hurt you this week that you didn't want to bother me with? When did you feel unseen by me? What did you wish I would ask and didn't? What joy did you hide because it felt unsafe to shine? The heart opens where it does not fear eviction. The heart stays where it is allowed to be clumsy and still be chosen. Repair is slow, and slowness looks like failure in a culture trained for speed. But slowness is where trust grows back its roots. Start with small promises and keep them. Not grand gestures, not fireworks. The punctual return of ordinary kindness. The text sent when you said you would. The story told at home before it is posted to strangers. The eye contact that outlasts the pull of the screen. A laugh saved for your table. Trust is not built by speeches. It is built by repeated non-drama. There is a tenderness in telling the truth about the ways we are tempted. To say, I felt the lift of attention from another, and I enjoyed it, and I brought that feeling back here on purpose. To say, I saw a version of myself in their eyes that I miss seeing in yours, and I want us to practice seeing that version again. To say, I chose us today, and I would like tomorrow to be easier for choosing, so let's make a small plan. A walk after dinner, phones sleeping in another room. A question that has no quick answer. This is not policing desire, this is shepherding it. There is a quiet discipline to loyalty that no one can applaud because no one sees it. No one will clap for the message you didn't send, the thread you didn't start, the second look you let pass, the private complaint you turned into a gentle conversation at home. But your future will applaud. Your children, if you have them, will feel it in the softness of the house. Your own older self will thank you for building a story that did not make you a stranger to your own promises. And when harm has happened, because sometimes it will, there is a better way than punishment and a worse way than denial. Accountability is not a courtroom, it is a workshop. It asks, what need were you trying to meet in a shortcut? Where is the honest version of that need allowed to live here? What boundary was missing, and how do we anchor it now so it does not depend on mood? A remorse that changes behavior is a door. A remorse that only says sorry is wallpaper.